Hi, everybody. Welcome to Queers and Soaps. I'm Tommy, and tonight I'm joined by my lovely co-host Dana.
Hey.
We are back talking about Dawson's Creek, episodes 2, 3, and 4. And a lot happened, so I'm gonna roll the credits and we'll get right into it. Where to begin? I guess with the first episode, huh?
Yeah, I guess I was just kind of looking through my notes a little bit just to kind of refresh as it was like literally the day before today. Oh my gosh, I can't.
So episode
It's
2 was
all
titled Dance, and there is a dance in the episode.
yeah,
But Dawson is hyper obsessed with his first kiss with Jen.
yes.
Um And Joey's just kind of playing nonchalant about it. She's like, "Really? You haven't kissed that girl yet?"
It's like she toys with him, but then keep thinking, I'm like, God, she has to listen to this man go on and on and on and on about Jen, and he just doesn't shut up about her ever. Like
It's
every
almost
breath.
it's almost like internally she's like, "Oh, thank God he hasn't kissed her yet," but she has to pretend like she doesn't care outwardly. Like,
I love how, like, if she has to suffer through this, right, like she has to listen to this nonstop, she can at least make fun of him
yeah.
for it, you know?
And she makes like a joke. I'm not suggesting like leather straps and Crisco.
Oh my god, so many. There's so many of those. Just little slide shades, just like, oh,
And they're
love.
having this conversation while he's working on a dummy head of her, basically for his horror movie.
Talk, talk about her lips.
Yeah, he says you give good lip, and she's like, "What?" And he like turns it around, and it's like supposed to be her.
Right. Oh my god, because doesn't it like that was like after he like went on this little tirade about like the whole moment of kissing, and she's kind of like fantasizing a little bit while he's talking, and
Yeah,
then
she
he
like
talks.
closes her eyes.
Yeah, and it's just like again the torture of Joey. Like that's what this whole show's for is to
Right. This
torture Joey the entire time. So she has to watch him fall in love with someone else and then hear about it every goddamn day.
Well, the running theme for her and him throughout this episode is her telling him that she's from New York. Things move faster there.
Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah.
and when they're at school, they see Jen talking to a football player named Cliff, who is 30, playing
Who
15.
is the actor who plays that guy? I could not remember for the life of me, but I know him. Who is he? What is his name?
That is Scott Foley.
Okay,
He
he's a
is
what is
he was from Felicity. That's how he became big. But then he was on
oh,
Scandal. He was on
okay,
Scandal.
okay.
I don't know if you watched Scandal.
That's what it is. It's Scandal. I know
And
Felicity, but not like that. Scandal
have you
though.
seen have you seen the Scream movies?
The originals, not any of the new ones.
Okay, so he's
Like
the
the
killer in Scream 3. I didn't want to spoil it for you.
no. No, but I know him from Scandal. That's where I know him. I'm like, why do I know this man?
Oh yeah, he got hotter as he got older.
Yeah, yeah. He looks almost identical, so he's definitely an adult in this show.
Right. Um, and I guess he asked Jen to go to the dance as like a group hang, but sort of a date. Um,
Yeah.
I laughed because I told you to keep an eye out for the "I Know What You Did Last Summer" posters, and it was like in the film class. I was like, "There's another one." So I don't think
I
I
gotta
mentioned this. The actress that plays Miss Jacobs, Tammy, she's kind of a big deal in the soap community. Um,
Oh,
so I f- I forgot this, but she ends up on Dynasty at some point.
I
Yeah.
love a crossover.
She's big on From Days of Our Lives, and she did a lot of guest appearances on like a lot of primetime stuff in the 90s. So
She kinda gave me
now
that vibe.
she what?
She kinda gave me that vibe. Like
Yeah.
you could tell she's a professional, like, someone
Yeah.
who's probably been a lot a lot of character acting in a lot of things for a long time kind of thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, so I forgot she was on Dynasty. For some reason, I have a brain block for that. I keep thinking she was on the Colbys, the spinoff of Dynasty, and
Oh,
Eric corrected me and was like, "No, Dynasty."
oh
So,
yeah, no, I haven't gotten there yet. I can't wait for that. Like,
yeah, I don't know what
I
season she
haven't.
comes on. I know it's the later seasons, but I don't know. I haven't made it past 5, so who knows?
Oh well, I can't wait to reference her once we finally get there.
Okay. Hey, I know you.
She's a woman who's incredibly inappropriate with her students in Dawson's Creek.
So, Pacey wants to talk to her at school about their second kiss. And, wait, no, not the second kiss, the kiss that happened.
Like, yes.
And she's like, "Now's not the time. This is inappropriate." And he's basically like whispering, "Your tongue was down my throat."
I can't. I just like this. I keep thinking too. Also, I was like, oh no, he's 15. Of course, he's gonna be like a little extra about everything, like all of his behaviors. It's like, yes, of course. I'm like, this guy's acting crazy. He's 15. He's 15. He's crazy. They're crazy.
I laughed because later on, when it is his class and they're talking about the book that they're reading, that's supposed to be regarded as a romance, a love story. She basically says that the kid had a good head on his shoulders, and the woman was a wet rag that like should have left him alone.
Never should have happened. Emily Bronte shouldn't have written this book because
Right.
it was a dumb relationship that never should have
She said
happened.
Bronte
You
should have
get
stayed her ink.
She's like, "Can I lay this down any like plainer for you, Casey?"
Um, so while filming Dawson's horror movie, there has to be a kiss between Pacey and Joey, and she just like is not having it. So
Mm-mm.
they come up with the idea that they're gonna kill Joey, and Jen's gonna come in halfway through. So
Yeah,
they film this scene. Joey gets her head knocked off. There's blood,
yeah,
and she goes to clean up, and Jen runs over to help her. And Jen kind of
yeah.
says, "Yeah, you have nice boobs." And Joey gets all like, and she's like, "I'm completely hetero." She's like, "I'm just, observing." You have nice boobs.
Right. I'm not gonna lie, I love this moment because, like, I really did believe. I'm like, because I think Jen is legit just trying to just live her life. Obviously, like, so stuff has happened to her, and she's just trying to chill. And Joey is very, like, mean, for
Yeah,
lack of better word. And she's really trying to pull out like hand, just go, hey, I want to be your friend. Like I did love the line when she's just like, I'm gonna make you like me, basically is
yeah. She
what she
says so.
said.
She says she looks like a duck, and like she says everything she's insecure about herself. And Joey's like, "You don't look like a
Yeah.
duck," and she's like, "I think that's the nicest thing you've said to me since I've gotten here."
Yeah.
And then
Oh my
Joey kind of
god.
like, pulls back when she says that, and she's like, "I plan to make it really hard for you to not like me."
Exactly. Like, listen, I like you and we could be friends. We could be best friends. Like just like if you're not into Dawson like you say you are, like
Hmm.
we both know lie, girl. Um, then we could be best friends. And please, Zoe, just be cool. Like,
um, oh, so prior to that, them filming the scene where Joey dies, um, Dawson is talking to his father about how to kiss a girl, and his father tells him the story of the first kiss between him and the wife, um,
mhm.
and how chapstick was involved. I don't remember how. I think his lips were
Well,
chapped, and she put chapstick on, and
yeah,
that's how they shared it or whatever. So
they
Dawson
asked
has
for chance.
Joey's fake head, and he like tells him to practice on the fake head as Joey watches from upstairs because she crawled through her window.
Right, right. And she's just like, and they're like lost in fantasy land of like what could it possibly be like to actually kiss Dawson and all that stuff. And it's just like we're just torturing Joey. This is just torture Joey forever and ever and ever about anything, everything, literally every minute she breathes.
So
It's
while
all
Joey's
about
up
like,
there, Gail, Dawson's mother, is hiding in the closet with the landline, talking to her, what I don't even know what to call him, fuckboy?
uh,
Like, her co-anchor.
co-anchor, co-anchor, right, Bob?
Yeah,
It's Bob.
Bob.
Oh god. Yeah, which is ballsy. Who
Right,
takes a phone call from their lover at their home? I know this
right.
is before, like, cell phones were really a big deal, where you could,
Mhm.
like, it was like your own thing, but this is like having them call your house where your husband and your children are? My god, no shame.
So she's startled by Joey, who's standing there listening, and they just kinda have small talk. She's like, "Oh, I'm gonna die today," and she's like, "Oh, that's nice." But before Joey walks
Yo,
away, she says, "Mrs. Leary, I know," and then she
yeah.
walks away.
Joey's the real one. Well, for real though, Joey is like, "Listen, I see you did like one of basically one of like this, and that's a one shot, right?" It's like, "Hey,
So,
oh my god."
Dawson wants to have, like, a movie night about school dances rather than actually go to the school dance. And Jen tells him that she was invited to go, so she wants to go. And he tries to play it cool, but Dawson's not cool. So he's, like, venting
No.
to Joey, basically just, like, thinking about Cliff kissing her, and he's, like, having a meltdown in his bedroom.
Yeah, yeah, and again, she just okay, chill out, Dawson. It's gonna happen when it happens, Dawson, for crying out loud. Cool it, Dawson.
So,
Uh,
he says he's going to the dance, and she's like, "Really?" And he's like, "Come on, you're coming with me." And she's like, "Well, I'm not above seeing your self-destructive behavior or whatever."
oh my god. She's like, "I'll be there for the sheer meltdown of it all, for the drama, for the tea. I'll just be sitting there eating my popcorn while we watch you crash and burn. Great,
Yeah.
love it. Let's go."
So as she's waiting at the bottom of the stairs for Dawson to fix his hair, Mrs. Leary walks by, and Joey says, "Have fun tonight, Mrs. Leary," because she knows what she's doing. And
God.
Mrs. Leary tries to have a conversation with her about it.
Yeah.
And Joey basically lays into her. She's like, "My father cheated on my mother who died of cancer." She's like, "What you're doing is gonna damage your family, and you have no idea, like, how badly." But then Dawson
For
interrupts.
real. Yeah.
Oh, because
Joey would be in a
the mom says, "Does Dawson know?" And he says, "Know what?" And Joey covers for her and says, "How to dance."
yeah, because Joey's a real one,
Mhm,
trying to give her a chance. She wants to give her the opportunity to come clean or stop what she's doing or whatever it is, because
mhm.
she's like, "Listen, this is what I've known in my life. You wanna do this? This is what happens. These are the consequences." Girl's girl. That's the whole thing about Joey that's why the whole thing about her and Jen, like, it just sucks that because it's all around a guy. Because Joey's a girl's girl. She's there to, like, "Listen, I'm not trying to make your life horrible, but you're doing that just on your own. Thank you. Figure it out."
Yeah.
And this is she's a 15-year-old girl telling her, "Yo, get your house right." That's crazy. Full grown woman. Could you imagine
Right?
being a 15-year-old coming up to you to be like, "Yo, mm-mm, that's not
This ain't it.
no." Oh my
Uh,
god.
so, we open at the dance with Savage Garden playing.
I love that. I was like, "Oh, yeah, I love this song." Yes. I remember, like, Savage Garden in this episode. I was like, "Yes, this Savage Garden's the best."
And, Pacey's flirting with Miss Jacobs, who's a chaperone. At one
I
point, he
hate
even
this.
says, Do you wanna dance, Miss Jacobs?" And she kind of, like, turns around fast with a smile on her face, like she forgot who she was for a minute, and she's like, "I gotta make my rounds."
That's literally all this woman does. She forgets herself. That's this woman's MO is. She forgets
Right.
herself. Oh lord.
Um, Joey and Dawson show up, and they see, Cliff and Jen dancing. So they start
Yeah.
dancing, and Dawson's like twirling her around, and she's keeping up with them. And he's like, "Oh, you're pretty good at this."
The thing about this show that's killing me is I know this is the problem I'm gonna have. I'm probably gonna hate Dawn a ton because of the what he puts Joey throughout this entire show. That's I'm already predicting that for the future. Mark a timestamp on this one when I said it when because it's gonna be true. But it's like they're obviously meant to be together. How do you dance together so well and not meant to be? How? How do you not see it? He's such an it's another one of them. I'm
he's
dying while I watch this.
he's like so hyper focused on Jen, just twirling her around, and she's literally
Literally,
her eyes are just locked on him the whole time.
right? And it's like if she was flashing online, he probably would never see it, and it's gonna make me want to break things while I watch the show. I can feel it in my bones. He's
So
so mad at him.
so Dawson's trying to play it cool, like, "Oh, hey, you go here too?"
And his
And
outfit at the dance, can we talk about what he's wearing?
oh god, his
Though, like he's
khakis with the
got,
oversized shirt and the vest.
like he literally looks like 3 times smaller, like he's wearing his dad's clothes. And he's coming over, and he's just like, "Oh hey, hey Jen, can I cut in?"
So Jen actually wants
Oh,
to dance with him, but he's like, "Well, what would Cliff think?" And she's just like, "You know what? Forget it." And he actually like follows her into the girls' bathroom, not realizing it.
oh,
um,
so I can't.
so then he has a meltdown, and he decides he's gonna be a man and tell Cliff that him and Jen have something going on, and it's a little undefined right now, but like he is there now, and he's going to be her date. And they kind of go back and forth, and Jen's just like, "I'm gonna go."
Well, it's like they start doing like measuring contest between the two of them. Like, oh, Jen, who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's this guy? Who's
Yeah.
this guy? Oh my god! And it just like seriously, again, Dawson just over his head, in over his head completely. Just
So
oh god.
him, Pacey, and Joey are walking home, and he's like, "Why didn't you stop me, Joe?" And she's like, "I knew this was gonna be my fault somehow." She's like, "I knew it."
Again, starting to hate it because it's like, why would it have anything to do with Joe? She literally told you not to go.
Yeah.
What was she supposed to do? Chain
Right.
you to the table? Tell you no, don't go for this? And then you tell her how she's just jealous? Like, because we'll always be friends? Oh, please. Oh man. This is gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough. So much Dawson slander, I feel like is in my future.
So Pacey separates from the group first because he's, I guess, they're by his house, and he
Mhm.
passes the spot on the dock that him and Miss Jacobs had their kiss, and she's standing there looking out at the water, and she takes this opportunity to apologize because she's the adult in the situation, and it never should have happened. And he like lets her off the hook, like his feelings are real. He kissed her back, but he loses me when he flat out says, I may only be 15," and I'm like, "Oh, that sounds so wrong. You're so young, 15."
He's he barely out of like kiddom. Like
Right?
just barely like and then every time he has one of these moments when they're the two of them, I keep thinking like he's 15. His frontal lobe is not fully formed. It's not. Not he's raging with so much inside of him that he doesn't know what he's saying. And that's why I put so much onus on Tamara. She knows better, but she has problems that she needs therapy for,
Yeah.
obviously, that she's like not to cater to this idea at all is just so bad, but it's great TV, I'll tell you. Mama.
So she tries to leave, but he grabs her arm, and she can't help herself, and they just start making out again.
It's just
I'm like, "Well, that conversation was a waste."
again, train crash. There is no good ending to this situation. Like all ever she should be saying is like 3 more years, dude. You wait 3 years, we're fine. Golden. Legal adult. So messed up, but at the same time, 3 more years. You hang out that long, let's do this thing, but or at least not be his teacher. I mean, it's just so bad.
Because she even said in her little speech to him, "It's punishable by law." Though that was a direct quote. She said,
Like, I just while I was watching it, I was like, "So they're coming, there's reason." So she understands
"Yeah, she
the
has lucid
severity
moments."
of this situation. She had a lucid moment of clarity, right? And they
Yeah.
both fully acknowledge how effed up this is on so many levels, not just on the legality, but it's the power dynamic. It's
Mhm.
just no. And again, he doesn't know what he's doing. His brain is fully formed, and he's like literally raging with all of these hormones because he's going through puberty. It's just like
Yeah.
so bad.
Um, Back at Dawson's house, the mom comes home, so I kinda wonder if she just actually went to the meeting and didn't meet with her boyfriend,
I thought too. That's what I thought.
and the husband's, like, telling her that he was talking to Dawson about their first kiss, and she keeps bringing up all their other kisses, like, 2nd date, 3rd date, but she remembers because while he's, like, ranting, like, "Huh, he's like, "Here I am, a complete failure," and she puts the chapstick on, they have a nice sweet moment.
So what? Okay, then I'm really starting to have a hard time understanding why would she want to step out on the relationship? They seem super happy. Like
Yeah.
at least from what we've seen so far, like they're affectionate with each other. They say they love each other. He seems super happy. Like at least she's pretending to be happy. There has to be some really great reason for this because it's really doesn't make sense. Like why would you want to? Why ruin that when if you already are happy? Like
Yeah.
what is there to do? Mm.
We find out the reason, I don't remember what the reason is, though.
Okay, I'm willing to
We'll
find
find
out.
out.
Yeah, like, there has to be one. It's kinda just out of control. Like, why would you do this?
So Joey and Dawson are the lone 2 walking home, and he sees Jen standing by the water. So he asks Joey if it's okay if he bags on her, and she's like, "Yeah, sure." So Joey pretends to walk off, but, she's like, "I'm not gonna, like, not spy on this." So she's, like, hiding off somewhere. And, him and Jen discuss what will happen at the dance, and she says, things were kinda rough for her in New York, and she just wants to start fresh here, and he's kinda like, "I want a relationship right now." He's like, "I wanna be your boy adventure." And
Ugh.
he's basically like, "Answer me now, yes or no," and she's like, "Alright, I'm interested in a boy adventure." And she asks, like, what she could do, and he says, "You could kiss me," and she's kinda like, "Mm." She's
Mhm.
like,
Yeah.
"The kiss isn't the big thing." She's like, "It's like the foreplay pretty much, the lead up to the kiss, that's everything."
Well, it's kinda like he's putting so much pressure on it because
Mhm.
it's all he's, like, focused in on, and she's trying to be like, "Listen, you gotta let it happen on its own. You can't force a moment to happen because it's not right or it's not real." Like, then you're just coercing basically a
Yeah,
kiss out of someone from peer pressure.
yeah.
So, like, that's basically what she was trying to say, like, "Let it happen on its own, like, we don't need to make a thing of
He
it."
wants it to be this big epic thing so he has this memory that he could tell for the rest of his life.
Yeah. Everything be like a movie moment, just like how Joey always says, like, you're trying to orchestrate every activity in your life to be something that is movie worthy, filmed and documented. It's like not life isn't like that. It's messy, and she would know with
Yeah,
everything that's happened to her in her life up until this point.
yeah,
She would has all the experience to know that Dawson doesn't because he just thinks he knows everything when he
right.
does not, of course, at all.
Um, so yeah, that's how the episode ends. They end up agreeing to have a boy adventure, and they dance because there's a couple that has a record playing, dancing on their boat, so they dance on the dock as Joey
Very
watches.
little. Yeah. Oh god. Oh god. Torture Joey, episode 2.
Um, so episode 3 is titled "The Kiss," which you would think would have been the other one because he was so hyper focused on the kiss.
Right, right, right.
Um, and it opens. So I don't. This is a thing. I think for most, if not all, of the first season episodes, they all open in Dawson's room with Dawson and Joey. That's just how the show always starts.
Okay, cool.
So they're watching an old movie, and she's being cynical, he's being romantic, talking about, kiss and romance, and he's like, "This could be you, that could be you, Joey," and she's like, "Sand on my crotch, heaven."
Not wrong though. The girl knows what she's talking about. That is overrated.
And I laugh.
Just
My favorite line is she's like, "This isn't real." She's like, "This is take 24. The girl's bored. The guy's gay." Like,
again, she knows what she's saying. Girl is hitting it. I love it. I love her. I love her. I love her. Can't love her more. She's like my favorite icon so
and then I liked how she was like, "Clap hard, Dawson. You might be Tinkerbell's last hope."
far. Yep. Perfect. He's perfect in every way. I love Joey so much.
So Dawson's pissed because in the film class that he's not technically not in, but he's sitting in the back to observe.
He's way in there.
They're
He
doing a
weaseled
football
it.
film, and he's like
Yeah,
going out of his mind.
yeah, yeah. Because they're doing the film is about what was the guy characters again?
Cliff,
The one who Jen Cliff.
Cliff,
It's about kind of like a biopic about Cliff.
yeah.
And of course, this
It's
is like
called
how scary.
it's called Helmets of Glory.
Oh my god. Oh yeah. Yeah. Yep. Love it.
So
Oh, and
Dawson's basically
yeah.
helping out with the behind the scenes stuff. And Jen is actually in
Yeah.
the movie as a cheerleader, which has
Is it
Dawson all twisted because he's like, "You're in my movie," and she's like, "I'm here for you to like spend time with you because I know you're also
oh,
working on this."
oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So they seem really cute. They seem to be happy,
Hmm.
and being chill about everything, kind of
Yeah.
getting to know each other. This don't even really know her. She just showed up. I mean, that's
Right.
another thing about love and young love specifically. Is like they just want to go all the way to the end, like as fast as humanly possible. And like they've only known each other for what, like 2 weeks, 3 weeks, something
Right.
like that. I don't know. Time shifts in these episodes, how far ahead you go, like from one episode to the other. But
Yeah.
yeah, time
So
goes fast.
Pacey might be failing on purpose so that Mrs. Jacobs has to tutor him.
Again, playing with fire, they seem to have a lot of like secret conversations in the classroom at school.
Yeah, anybody could
It's
walk in.
time. They'll be like, why is Pacey constantly hanging out in here? This is really weird. And it's just kind of like, damn, you guys just again, it's the thrill of getting caught. It's what she's into. He's obsessed because,
Yeah,
first love, anything. First, literally the first woman that ever like looked at him, barely apparently.
right. Um,
Hmm.
while he's studying or reading, he asks her like if she would have dated him in high school, and she says probably not. But she's smarter now, at least she thought she was.
Right? Yep. Yep.
And
Knows better now.
he pushes so hard that she's like, "All right, let's do it." She's like, "Our first time should be on my desk."
Well, like she accused him of cheating to like get because he was failing everything, and he's like, well, I guess I need a tutor. That'll
Yeah,
be like the best way for us to hang out,
yeah,
essentially. And she's like, why would I want to do that? Like, and then the whole convincing was just like, all right, fine, or whatever. But then he keeps pushing about like, what gosh, what was it? It was like she was she was just sitting there, like, just quizzing him about, the book or whatever, because he needed
Mhm.
to, like, take a quiz, and he was actually, like, took it up away, and then she's just like, "Oh, what is all this all about?" And then she calls his bluff, basically,
Yeah.
like, "Oh, we're gonna do this right here, right here,
Yeah.
right here."
And she starts unbuttoning her blouse, and she's like, "Do you have a
Yeah.
condom?" She's like, "We do need condoms." She's like, "But it's a high school. I'm sure you could round up some anywhere."
And he's sweating bullets. He's shaking in his booty. He's like,
Uh-huh.
ah.
And then she's like, "What is this, your first time?" And he's like, "You know it is." And then she has a lucid moment, and she's like, "Go home."
Yeah.
She's like, "Get out of here."
Yeah. It's like step reality. Like, this is not a grown man. This is a child. He would be a virgin in high school. Like, he's a sophomore in high school, girl. Ugh. Ugh.
Um, Dawson and Jen are filming, I guess, her last scene, but they're kinda trespassing on somebody's, like, property.
Yeah.
But again, this is Dawson's, he's setting it up, setting the mood for the first kiss, and, she nails her last scene on the first try, but he keeps the film rolling so that it would record them when they go to kiss, but Jen notices that they're on the prompter, and she's like, "Wait, what are you doing?"
I don't know why he keeps the stuff going. That doesn't make sense to me. I mean, like, if just want to did he actually want to capture him, or did he just forget that he was running and he just wanted to make his move? Because he just starts in like, "Oh, we shouldn't waste all this dressing. It's so romantic." Like,
Yeah.
like, oh, cringe.
Meanwhile, Joey had a whole completely separate storyline. She saw a cute boy that sailed into town on his family's yacht.
Yes. Oh, I love this for her. I loved every single second of every scene that she had with this boy. He was so cute. And I was like, "That's right, girl. Get yours.
Did
Go
you,
ahead, lie to him."
did you watch Teen Wolf?
No, but I've
Okay.
seen episodes here and there, but not like fully from beginning to end. I
Okay.
heard is very good.
Because this guy is in Teen Wolf, um, and he got really hot.
Okay. I
Yeah.
listen, he had as a kid, very attractive child, and that's weird to say as a 36-year-old woman, but he was very I could see why you would love that kid. He was exactly what you wanted. And I rubber stamped every single decision she made, even all of it, every
All the
single
lies.
thing. All the Deborah. Her name Deborah.
Because she went to say Deborah Carr, which was the actress in the movie at the beginning that they were watching, and then she went, "Son, Deborah Carson."
I loved every second of it. It's like she spotted him at the restaurant while Dawson was there, which was perfect. And just kind of peeped him out. And what was he? He was playing the violin on his
Mhm.
boat.
Yep.
Oh, so it was perfect. It was exactly what Joey needed, because it's like, girl, you are so pretty and so nice and so smart, so wonderful. Like, you should not wait around for Dawson at all, not even for
Uh-huh.
a second. Just get it, girl.
So she goes sailing with him, and because she's grown up around those docks, and it looks like her family owns a restaurant.
Yeah,
Um, she knows how to sail, and they spend the day on the
yeah.
beach, and she kinda has, like, that movie moment on the beach where she, like, falls and rolls over, like, just like how in the actual movie they were watching.
It was perfect. I was so happy. Like, yes, tell
And he
me.
goes in for a kiss, but she kinda turns her head, and she's like, "I gotta get back," because she has to work. She has to work at the family restaurant.
Or
Um,
her parents are gonna be looking for her or wondering where she is.
right,
She's high. Remember, she's playing rich girl. She
right.
don't know where.
So they recasted Bodhi, the black boyfriend.
I did notice that. I was like, I don't remember him looking like that, but okay, we're going.
Um, I liked how, when the boy, I can't remember his name, but when he walked into the
Me neither.
restaurant for takeout, Joey pretended to be sitting like with her friends, and he called her
I
Deborah,
love
and they were like, "Who's Deborah?" And like Jen and
I
him both
love it.
picked him.
Yes. Okay, listen. Okay, so first off, of course, Dawson would be not a good man. He immediately was trying to blow up Joey's spot, which was so messed up. But Jen came in clutch, was the realest one. She like assisted her girl Joey right into it, like immediately, and because she peeped exactly what was happening, like what was going on. I love this scene. It's so wonderful, and of course, Dawson trying to jack like again ruining like a perfectly great moment because like they obviously get a lot of tourists, so like they put it together that it ain't gonna be around long enough for us this to be a real issue, right?
Yeah.
And then I think sister started calling like Joey, gotta pick up like an order. Hello, Joey, and she's like, oh, gotta get this guy out of here. And then the her boyfriend right comes
Yeah.
out and he's like, oh hi, would you like something to eat? Again, wing womaning, Ming Manning it. Oh, love it. I love it when it together. Gives the assist to Joey again so she can meet up with this kid later. Every second. I loved all these people in here. Dawson was the worst, but everybody else was just great. Loved it.
Um,
Oh,
so what was next? Oh, so she ends up going to say goodbye to him because he's leaving the
yeah.
next day,
Yeah.
and he gives her his number, and he says that they could go dancing, and she says she prefers a restaurant on the East End, and he's like, but that
Yeah.
doesn't. And then he's like, well,
Still
never mind.
says
But
that line. Like, yeah, and still gives it to her though. He
yeah,
still goes, oh, let me get my number after that whole line was said. Like,
yeah.
put it together. Oh, yeah.
But maybe he
Dawson.
was like, maybe she made a mistake. Maybe she's like confused about something. So
I want I don't know. I think it was definitely like he knew what was up because she kept saying stuff about how like I'm not Cinderella,
mhm,
like I'm not. She's kind of like leaning towards, hinting towards it, I guess. So I
yeah,
think he knew, and he still gave her the number. So I was like,
yeah.
yeah, because Joey's awesome.
So then Joey actually has her first kiss. Well, not really, because Casey kissed her in the last episode.
That was a movie. This is the real thing. Oh, I was so
Yeah,
it was
so
the
they
best.
kissed, and then he was gonna walk her back, but she's like, "No." She's kinda just like, "I just wanna remember you like this." So she's like, "Just you need to stay
So
here."
sweet. After 2 episodes of watching Joey just basically have to hear nonsense after nonsense, dealing with all her mess and all that, to have this for her was, like, so relieving because like, I just going through it. Like,
Yeah.
I love her.
So, apparently Bodhi, her sister's boyfriend, either went to school in New York, or he knows New York, or he knows about restaurants in New York. So she asks him where the restaurant she mentioned to the boy is located, and he said Tribeca, and she's like, "Fuck." And she
Yeah.
just throws the number out the window.
I hated that. I was like, "Why? He gave it to you after you said that. That means he knows. He's into you, girl. It doesn't matter."
Um,
Yeah, you make her the whole day.
so back to Jen and Dawson. She's pissed that he tried to set up their kiss, and she's just like, "You're making me really, like, anxious about this." She's like, "I feel like, you've built this kiss up to be such some epic thing, and what if I'm not good?" And he's like, "Never gonna happen."
Right. Oh,
And, they hear people coming, and because they're trespassing, they grab the equipment and they kinda hide it, and then they hide, and then they actually do have their first kiss.
and it was cute.
Naturally.
It was yeah, it was cute. They were all huddled together. They're telling each other to shh. So of course they're making like the shh face mouth movements, and of course everybody's looking at their lips. So of course, like they're gonna kiss. As soon as they got in
Yeah.
that little cave, I'm like, oh yeah, they're kissing. And I was like, I'm so happy. So Joey and Dawson both got their first kiss this episode, which was very nice.
Oh, maybe
finally
that's why
just
it was
shuts
called Kiss, because they both got their first kiss.
because it actually happened instead of just
Yeah.
talking about it. I mean, Joey's was totally unexpected because she wasn't looking for it, but man, did
Yeah.
she go after it. That was so good on you, girl. And the whole episode of Dawson just talking about it and talking about it, and meticulously planning each second of it was just like, oh, finally got the stupid kiss. Will shut up a bit.
Um, so while that's happening, the people or noises that they heard come running by, and it's a man and a woman, making out aggressively and having sex, and it's on the monitor for Dawson's movie. And then we see that it's Pacey and Miss Jacobs because we see them in the afterglow of their sexual encounter. So now it is a felony.
No,
It's
oh my god, it's recorded.
the
What
kissing may have been
channel?
a misdemeanor, but now it's a felony.
No, child pornography is what it is. They've graduated to just from what, like, I guess, what's the first stage? Like, it's like
Heavy petting? I
influence
don't
of
know.
a well, like, there's, like, different stages where it's like you when you're, like, still seeing, a minor, like, trying to get a minor to do something illegal for you, like, that's one its
Um,
own charge. That's just, like, just chatting. Then it got to,
oh, it's like
like,
grooming or something. I think it's grooming.
yeah, and
Yeah.
now it's full-blown child pornography. Good on ya, Pacey and Tamara. Jesus
I
Christ.
laugh because she's like, and you can tell she's like, wow, that dick was bomb, but like, what the fuck did I just do?
So, that episode, I was like, "You gotta be fucking kidding me." Like,
Well,
they
now he's
just
really gonna be
really
clingy. Like, remember how you were like, he's gonna
oh,
imprint on her?
yeah, he is if you thought he was mother ducking you before, he is definitely doing it now. He will never let her out of his sight for the rest of his life. Oh my god. Jeez. And the weird it's like the weird mommy son thing is starting to it's like, "Oh god, I can't. I don't know."
Yeah.
Getting creepier and more gross as the days go on. Ugh.
So, the 4th episode opens in
Mhm.
Dawson's room, and he's editing the movie, and he comes across the sexual footage, but they could only see the back of the guy's head, and they try to make out, like, because 'cause they're like, "The woman looks familiar," and they're like, "Oh, if you brush her hair," they're like, "It's Miss Jacobs."
You know, I'm surprised the writers didn't draw this out a little bit longer. I was expecting this to be kind of like a lingering bomb that's gonna go off at any moment, like, in the future. That's what I was predicting eventually, that, like, they would just wouldn't find this footage. They would just eventually come across it at the perfect timing when things were just the worst it could be. Not
Right.
immediately the next episode. I was
Yeah.
like, "Oh, who knows?
Well,
Everybody's fully booked."
the first season's shorter, it was a mid-season show, so it's only 13 episodes. So,
Okay, okay.
we're, like, a quarter of the way through the first season right now.
Yeah, alright, so they gotta if they're gonna they don't know if I guess they're gonna be renewed, right? So,
Yeah.
like, they gotta get it out while they can, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
makes
probably.
sense.
Um, so Joey and Dawson are talking about it in front of Pacey and Jen, and Pacey's all like, "I gotta see that tape," and they think it's just because he's, like, a horny teenager that wants to watch porn, like
Which is pretty bad. That's pretty bad. If he's like, "I gotta see this tape," that's, like, gross, dude, ew.
Um, so he ends up breaking into Dawson's room. I don't know if he went up the ladder and climbed through Joey's window, but he's, like, messing up the tapes, and Dawson's like, "Can
Yeah.
you chill?" Like,
Yeah.
and he basically he admits to him he's the guy on the tape, and Dawson's like, "What?"
Yeah. Yeah, and I felt like Dawson was a little too cool about it, but maybe that's what he would be like. I don't know. To me, I'd be like, "Yo, are you sure about this, bro? It's our teacher." But, also I'm an adult.
Yeah, Pacey's like, I'm not good with girls, I don't get the girl." He's like, "I got the girl this time."
Yeah, and oh my god, yeah. There's some of the things Pacey was concerned about, was things that I kept thinking to myself, like, "That's what you're thinking about right now? You're not concerned about there's proof of a very illegal act on tape
Right.
now?" You know?
Well,
Why
he
don't we
did
just
say, he's like, the damage that this could do if this tape got out, so he took it.
Yeah, yeah, and then he immediately pivots.
Um, I think it's funny that it isn't he never tells, Miss Jacobs that the tape exists. Like
You know what? That's a very good point. I was wondering if he was gonna ever tell her that it exists. That might be the thing that eventually, like, I mean, this tape may rear its ugly head again. Again, I have not seen the series, so I don't know if it ever does. But whenever there's something introduced into the plot, I'm always gonna try to expect where it'll eventually end up. If it's not
Yeah.
like physically destroyed on screen, then it's coming back at some point or another, you know?
Um, he actually runs into her outside of school, and he sits with her, and he tries to hold her hand, and she's like, "No," because they're out in public. Like, "I know that you guys just fucked, but, like, you're still 15," and she's still pushing 40.
Right? Oh my god. Oh, and there like, I was outside and people around that can see us.
Right.
Like, Jesus Christ.
And then later on, he sees her with the film teacher who was at the movies in the first episode with her when he got punched. And he
Mhm.
starts to get jealous, and he, like, confronts her about it later on, and
Yeah,
she basically tells him that the teacher's gay, and he's like, "What?"
yeah. Well, that was I mean, like, like, the way Pacey's acting is kind of not surprising.
Yeah,
Like, all of the things he's doing is exactly what someone in this situation that of his age would do. Would be crazy about her, like, obsessive about her. It's literally how Dawson is with Jen. Like,
yeah,
the 2 of them are almost acting exactly the same way. One just has an age inappropriate, like, counterpart, and the other one doesn't. And,
yeah,
like, they're still having these obsessive moments over, like, who they're with, what they're doing, and who they're doing it with because they're so in love. They're just don't know what to do with all the emotion. So him thinking he's got like competition with the film teacher is like he'll go off the deep end about it.
So, Dawson's walking Jen home from school next door because that's where she lives, and,
Mhm.
he goes to kiss her, but I think Jen's grandmother's, like, kinda peeking, so she's like, we have an audience." And then
Yeah.
she goes to walk away, and then she's like, "Screw it," and she, like, basically, like, jumps in his face and, like, makes out with him.
Yeah. Oh
And then when she
no.
goes inside, the grandmother's like, "Do you do these things to exasperate me?"
I love the way Jen handles her grandma. I love everything about it. She's just like, listen, let's just what we gonna do about this, buddy? Look at this. Like, I can't stand the way you look at me. Out with it. Tell me what's up. And,
So, again, we don't get the full reveal, but it's
yeah,
insinuated that some bad things happened in New York.
yeah.
So,
Through some stuff.
um, Jen goes with Dawson to the TV station to kinda dub some of her screams and lines, and, while they're on a break, they see Dawson's mom kissing her co-anchor. So that
His
came out.
mother, what's wrong with
Oh,
her?
by the way, this episode was called Discovery, so a lot of things were discovered.
To me, it's like this woman does. She is not doing herself any favors. She takes phone calls at her house from her anchor lover, and
Her
like
anchor
she
lover.
got Joey literally telling her straight up, "Don't do this. Stop doing this.
Yeah.
Okay, stop doing it." Not once, but twice. She gave her
Yeah.
a warning shot and then told her straight up. And then and she's gotta have your oh god, she kisses him in public? Come on. Oh wait, don't wait, hold on. Did we forget they saw each other at the mall? When they
Alright, they
were like,
first ran in uh, was
yeah,
it Joey and him that ran in? Yeah, Joey and him ran into them shopping.
yeah, because he was getting like a suit or something, and she's just saying, "Look at you," and then like Dawson sees her and goes like, "Hey, mom," and just like
Yeah.
literally walking up, "What's up, mom? How you doing?" And she's like her
Yeah,
face was like, "Oh my god, hey,
and Joey's like
Dawson."
Joey's, like, giving her the stink eye.
Yeah. Oh, she must have just been hanging out, right?
Yeah.
Right, Dawson's mom? Oh my god. She had, like, so many, like, whew, close calls, close calls, close
Right.
calls, and then just walks right into this, and of course, Dawson has a full-blown meltdown about it.
Yeah. So
Oh,
Jen is basically like, I don't know what to say. I know that we don't really know each other that well. We do this whole banter, but it's not really like real conversation, but you could talk to me if you need to. And then he
yeah.
goes like running right to Joey.
Immediately to Joey.
Yes. So he's venting to her and he's just like, I didn't know, did you? And Joey's just like, and he's like, you knew? And again, it was one of those
Oh,
situations where she was like, I knew somehow this would be my fault if I told you, like, you would hate me forever.
yeah, this is, for dog slander, but well, I don't understand why Joey is the one to blame for this. Like, again, I know he's young, he's upset, angry, all that stuff, but it feels like Joey for him is like the end and beginning. It's like if since she did know, how was she supposed to tell him? And
Right.
how is he really going to actually react? He's already reacting to this. It's like proving her point that he was going to blame her no matter what happened. He blamed her blamed her literally for not being a dance, or she already tried like 3 or 4 different times. So like,
Yeah.
oh, Dawson, I can't. I'm not.
So
Team Joey.
he basically ends the friendship and is like, have a nice life. And then he
Yeah,
goes running back to Jen.
it's BS. It's such BS. Like absolute horse shit. Can't handle it.
And then Jen's like, oh, I have to admit, I was a little like upset when I thought you ran to Joey. He did. That's exactly what he did.
Yeah, girl, he absolutely did.
And he's going on and on about honesty and how it's the most important thing in a relationship and there shouldn't be any secrets or lies between people. So Jen takes
Mhm.
this opportunity to expose why she actually came to Capeside.
Right. She
And
opens up.
she says, this is per your request.
Right. For
And
full transparency, Dawson.
this is where she says, my grandmother's been a nurse for 40 years. The only thing I can help her with is like staying out of her way.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, and she says, all the tales of the kids living in the big city are true, grow up too fast, have sex too young, drugs, and he's just like, wait, the sex part? And she's like, yeah,
Mhm.
and he's like, oh, so I should like disregard the whole time you said you were a virgin?
Can't. Oh, like
Because
she.
now it messes up his perfect fantasy and she's damaged goods in his
Yeah.
head.
Well, there, like, well, I think Pacey says that to him at some point. There are some like very lucid points that Pacey made later on in the episode that I was like, who is this man? Who is this guy? I don't know who he is. He's making actual like salient points to Dawson about his whole reaction towards Jen.
Yeah,
And like literally the minute she said it, and he was like crickets
yeah.
after like she confirmed she's not a virgin, or and also that it was more than one guy. That was
Mhm.
another point of it that he kind of just went like froze up. I was like, he is not gonna basically abandon her because when she actually opens up to him, tells him
Mhm.
exactly what he's asking to know,
Mhm.
and he dares do this, and it's kind of like he sure does.
I mean,
He
she could
sure
immediately see his change, his whole body, like,
absolutely.
language changes. Like, she's even like, "Will you hold my hand?" And he's like, "Yeah, sure." Like, he's trying to pretend like he's okay, but he's not. He's, like, having a meltdown.
James Vanderbeek played it perfectly. That's exactly what happens when you can feel someone pull away from you. Like
Mhm.
the minute they're one way, and when they're not is so apparent, and especially when they love to say, "No, I'm fine, everything's fine." Everything is not fine. Everything not fine because you are not like how you were literally a second ago, and you
Right.
can't like, and it's gaslighting. effect where they're like, "Oh, Ryan, you're crazy. You're pushing things on here that aren't here," when they actually are. And then, of course, you find out 20, 48 hours later when they finally feel brave enough to tell you exactly what they were feeling at that time.
Yeah.
Oh, kills me.
So
Kills me.
then at school, he's, like, too busy for her, like, "Oh, I have to study. Oh, I have to do this," and she's just like, "Stop playing games with me." She's like,
So
"I can see what's
hot.
happening."
I was
But
getting so angry. Mm.
so going back to the conversation you were talking about with Pacey, I kind of flip-flop on how I feel about this because while Pacey was kinda giving good advice, she's giving you an in. She's telling you she's taking the pressure off of you. She's telling you,
I
like,
think
"I'm
that
into
was
it, like, I have experience." But the other
yes.
side of this, I'm like, this is also a very private thing that she told you, and you're just talking to him about it. Like, I understand, like, we
Oh,
talk to our friends about these things, but, like, this is, like, her personal business. I feel like you don't
yes, agreed,
talk to
agreed.
somebody, especially Pacey, but
But yeah, I agreed. I also thought Pacey's like at first I would like when he like the first part of it's like every other sentence of the conversation was like right, wrong, right, wrong. Cause like at first he was like, listen, opening up to you, bro. You're telling me you're gonna be upset like the first time that she opens up to you about this. And
Mhm.
then the next thing he says is about how it's an in that she's basically giving him the thumbs up to have sex with. That is not at all what she was doing. She was just trying to be honest with him. And then he came back around saying, like, again, like like you're mad because she is a person, not a fantasy that you built up in your mind for her to be because you're infatuated with the way she looks or the way she talked or all that stuff. Like once now you're actually getting to know her, it's not jiving with what you always thought she was, and that's not her fault. So it's like every other sentiment that Pacey was making was like
Right.
somewhere around there. But again, it was focused around sex and like sex being like the end goal of the relationship. Because again, 15 doesn't understand how to do anything, and neither does Dawson for that matter. And like his reaction is just so off, out of pocket, because it's like you're just being horrific to someone who's already probably been through some things that you don't even know and don't even want to know because
Yeah,
all you really want is what you think she is versus who she actually is. And you just
right,
prove that like very
right.
wholeheartedly. You messed up, brother. And yeah, it's just I was so mad at Dawson the entire time.
So, Pacey and Miss Jacobs have now graduated to him coming to her house, I guess, because 'cause they're, like, hanging out in her
Yeah,
bedroom.
sure.
And he asks her, like, how many
What?
times she's been in love, and she says or how many men she's been with, and she said only a few that mattered, and she said 1 in high school, 1 in college, and then, like, 1 after that, and he kinda is like, "Huh, that's it?" And then she says, "I didn't say my high school." That was a little dirty. That didn't make me feel good.
Oh, oh God. I don't like this. I don't like anything about this.
How come
It's just
and
God,
watching it back then at 12,
yeah,
didn't see
yeah.
anything wrong with it. I was just like, "Ooh,
Sure.
it was scandalous," but I didn't see any, like, the legal
Yeah,
ramifications of it.
yeah. It's just I guess it's probably because there's maybe at 12 it didn't like the you haven't experienced I guess like a lot of heavy consequences. I'd imagine I know I have in my life. I've done some things and felt the hurt of them.
Mhm.
So like especially when it comes to messy relationships, I guess. So every time someone's doing something messy in a relationship like cheating, lying, all that I always since I've been in them before on both ends of the spectrum, I've always like, do that. Never worth it. It's not worth it. I know it feels great now. I know you're having a great time now, but later on, you're gonna wish you never did this.
Yeah,
Like no matter how good it feels or felt or whatever you were missing, not worth it. Like what Joey was saying to Dawson's mom. Like whatever you think you're doing right now, it's not worth what you will lose at the end of the day.
right.
And I think because when I was 12 and 13, I didn't know that life. I didn't know that hurt or that trauma or anything that could come from it because it was like my life was fine. So
Yeah.
like whatever anybody did on TV, they'll be fine. Hey, no big deal. Hey,
Yeah.
that's how I think. I would thought the same thing. I think
Yeah,
the exact same thing. I'm sure other shows that would have done the same kind of storyline. I'd be like, yeah, whatever. And
yeah.
he's like, nah. That's a broken,
Um,
battered adult. It's different.
so Jen comes to see Joey at the restaurant, and she's like, "Can I talk to you about Dawson?" And Joey's like, "I'm busy." And she's like, "I told him I'm not a virgin." She's like, "I got a little time."
Another moment. Yeah, I'm hoping they can truly bond after this now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm dying for them to be best friends. I really want them to be best friends.
So Joey basically tells him like he's a classic only child. He like throws tantrums when he doesn't get what he wants, and like she's like, but
So
he'll
we
come
know
back around.
she clocks us in her Jen like immediately. She tells him the lowdown right then and there. Oh, this is what you need to know, girl.
And Jen's like, "Well, how long do you think it'll take?" She's like, "Who knows?" And um, she's like, "Knowing me, I'd probably wait forever." Foreshadowing
I
much.
love God damn, Joey, no. That's all I want to say is don't you dare. Not for him, not even for a second. Get out of there. But yeah, it broke my heart.
And Jen is kind
Foreshadowing
of
for sure.
like wants some company. Like she'll wait forever too.
Oh my God. What is it about Dawson? He's not that great. There's so much better out there. Go for Cliff, Jen. I'm sure he's way better.
So Joey finds Dawson by some water that actually looked like the where they were trespassing in the previous episode.
Yeah, I think so. Because I remember the fountain. The fountain looks the same.
Yeah. And they kind of have a conversation like what's going on with them. Things are changing. They're not as close as they used to be. Um and Jen says, "Oh, by the way, we're old friends now, Blondie. So me and Blondie. So if you need me to send her a message, like."
Peace with Jen. So we're cool.
um, and they kind of have like this like weird role play, like of why they fight and like how they're always there for each other, and that kind of breaks the ice and kind of puts them back on friend territory because they're laughing, smiling, but Dawson still kind of
Yeah,
wants to be alone, and that's pretty
yeah.
much how it ends. She just leaves him to like sulk and like brood.
Well, he's messed up about his parents
Hmm.
because he doesn't know how to tell his parents that he knows about the affair. He felt betrayed by Joey for whatever reason because he has no brain cells to rub together,
And he's having
and
an irrational reaction to Jen's revelation.
exactly, and, like, the fact that Jen's not a virgin or whatever. So, like, all of those feelings are compounding on top of each other, and he's brooding like an emo teenager before emo really came out to be, so,
Yeah. And
yeah.
Jen had like a little one-sided conversation with her grandfather who's unconscious. I don't know if he's
Yeah.
not in a coma, but he's just always unconscious. Um,
Yeah, we had heart surgery, so
yeah.
even that's
So
something.
she's talking about how like the statistics are going to change as they get older and it won't matter at any point. But she's like, but for now, it's like a big deal.
Oh, the late '90s, they still were of a time where that stuff,
Right? Literally
right? Yeah,
98. Like this is the late 90s.
these are the late '90s, yeah, it's crazy to think that, like, well, virginity is a construct anyway, there's really no way to truly know one way or the other, all that stuff is made up myth,
Hmm.
and, so, but and I was very disappointed by Dawson through this episode, his reactions. But again, like you have to give him a little bit of grace because he is so young and going through first times things with people in relationships. It just sucks that Joey and Jen are the collateral damage of him learning these very valuable lessons on how to interact with other people.
So okay, so now we're 4 episodes in. How you feeling?
Oh, I'm in. I really, you know what? I told myself, I was like, I'm only gonna watch episode because I wanted to watch episode 4 like right like the same day.
Uh-huh.
Again, love to be fresh. I like to have it at the top of my brain. But like I watched episode 2 and 3 and I was like, well, I gotta keep watching the next episode.
Right.
I need to know what happened.
Yes.
And honestly, my notes are like half of what they normally are because I'm too busy watching this show. about it. I'm, like, watching and watching and then haven't written anything down about what happened, like, or how I felt about it at the time.
Uh,
And, so I'm very much invested. I know I'm going to absolutely hate Dawson because of how he is and
uh,
how much Joey, 'cause it's like the way that it feels like they keep having the same conversation about how their relationship's changing, it's changing, it's changing, it's always changing, and now Dawson's now on board because he's in love with Jen. It's just like, watching these obviously, like, dumb people that are meant to be together, not be together. It's gonna kill me slowly, and I'm just gonna be happy until Dawson hopefully makes some sort of, like, turn where he appreciates and sees Joey for who it is, but, like, I'm scared that it's gonna be a situation, and you don't have to tell me, like, it'd be a situation where it's just, like, he finally just sees Joey, like, one time towards the end of the series, and then they come together for a reason. I want Dawson to learn and to know and
we
to
want him to
truly see.
suffer. We want him to
He
want her like she wanted him.
right. I want him to feel the unrequited love a little bit too, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
I want him to get a little bit of the taste of his own medicine, like, I
yeah.
want him to see Joey happy and thriving, and then they can come together. That's the only time way I think it could be make this happy for me because it's just, like, so obvious, and I know he's a dumb teen, but damn, boy, damn. And this mess with Casey and the teacher, oh, it's a ticking time bomb. I'm
Yeah,
just waiting for it. Same thing with the parents thing. That's gonna be another situation,
yeah,
and it's just gonna
there's a
all
lot
that it's
going
just
on.
yeah. Second, the embarrassment I felt for that grown woman to have a 15-year-old girl tell her that she needs to get her house in order was probably the craziest thing ever I've seen on TV. Oh, I got red, my whole back, like, went into flames on her behalf, like, oh my god, I just couldn't imagine it. Like, literally standing at your stairway and have this girl that you've probably known since she was, like, a baby,
Right.
like, tell you that, "Your your life's a mess, girl." But yeah.
Well, stay tuned because we will be back. Thank you for joining us for another edition of Dawson's Creek. As always, you can find us on all the socials at Queers and Soaps. And until next time, have a great night. Bye.